Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. Breaking with Convention, War, Peace, and the Presidency. I'm Amy Goodman. The Democratic National Convention's opening today here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, amidst massive party turmoil. DNC Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz says she's stepping down following the release of nearly 20,000 emails revealing how the Democratic Party favored Hillary Clinton and worked behind the scenes to discredit and defeat Bernie Sanders. The emails were released Friday by WikiLeaks. In one email, DNC Chief Financial Officer Brad Marshall suggested someone asked Sanders about his religion, writing, quote, "For Kentucky and West Virginia, can we get someone to ask his belief? He had skated on saying he has a Jewish heritage. I think I read he's an atheist. My Southern Baptist peeps would draw a big difference between a Jew and an atheist," unquote. Another email shows DNC staffers suggesting planting a news story that Sanders' campaign was a mess. Bernie Sanders reacted to the emails during an interview with ABC's George Stephanopoulos Sunday.
I told you long time ago that the DNC was not running a fair operation, that they were supporting Secretary Clinton. So what I suggested to be true 6 months ago turns out, in fact, to be true. I'm not shocked, but I am disappointed.
Democratic Party Vice Chair Donna Brazile will act as the DNC's interim head through the election in November. We'll have more on the emails after headlines with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange. Hillary Clinton has named Virginia Senator Tim Kaine to be a running mate. Kaine was elected to the Senate in 2012. Before that, he was the chair of the DNC. Clinton and Kaine spoke at an event in Miami Saturday, where Kaine spoke in both English and Spanish.
Hey, guys, thank you. Hello, Miami. Hello, FIU. Y bienvenidos a todos. Bienvenidos a todos en nuestro país, ¿verdad? Porque somos americanos todos.
That was Senator Kaine saying, welcome everyone in our country, right? Because we are all Americans. Those, again, the words of Tim Kaine speaking in Miami Saturday. Senator Kaine learned Spanish when he spent a year in Honduras with the Jesuit missionaries during the U.S.-backed Dirty War in 1980. Many believe Kaine's fluency will help him with the Latino vote, although a 2015 Univision poll found nearly 7 in 10 Latinos say a candidate's ability to speak Spanish would not affect their vote. Meanwhile, many progressives are concerned about Tim Kaine's track record of supporting so-called free trade agreements, including voting to fast-track the TPP. We'll have more on Tim Kaine later in the broadcast. A new CNN poll shows Donald Trump leading Hillary Clinton 44% to 39% in a four-way matchup. In the poll, Libertarian presidential candidate Gary Johnson received 9%. Green Party candidate Dr. Jill Stein received 3%. This comes as Donald Trump has defended Roger Ailes, who's resigned from Fox News amidst multiple accusations of sexual harassment. This is Donald Trump speaking with MSNBC's Chuck Todd.
Well, I don't want to comment, but he's been a friend of mine for a long time, and I can tell you that some of the women that are complaining, I know how much he's helped them, and even recently, and when they write books that are fairly recently released, and they say wonderful things about him, and now all of a sudden they're saying these horrible things about him, it's very sad. Because he's a very good person. I've always found him to be just a very, very good person. And by the way, a very, very talented person. Look what he's done. So I feel very badly. But a lot of people think he's going to run my campaign. Yeah. My campaign's doing pretty well.
About a dozen women have spoken anonymously to the New York Times about experiencing sexual harassment at Fox News. One reporter said Roger Ailes began and ended every meeting by hugging and kissing her. Meanwhile, Trump also told Chuck Todd he expanded his call for a ban on immigration during his speech at the RNC on Thursday.
This feels like a slight rollback.
I don't think
Should we interpret it that as that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I actually don't think it's a rollback. In fact, you could say it's an expansion. I'm looking now at territories. People were so upset when I used the word Muslim. Oh, you can't use the word Muslim. Remember this. And I'm okay with that because I'm talking territory instead of Muslim. But just remember this. Our our Constitution is great, but it doesn't necessarily give us the right to commit suicide, okay? Now, we have a religious, everybody wants to be protected, and that's great, and that's the wonderful part of our Constitution. I view it differently. Why are we committing suicide?
Former Ku Klux Klan Grand Wizard David Duke is running for U.S. Senate in Louisiana. Duke said he's, quote, overjoyed to see Donald Trump and most Americans embrace most of the issues I've championed for years, unquote. Earlier this year, Donald Trump refused to disavow David Duke's support, although Trump has since repeatedly disavowed him. Meanwhile, retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn, who is on Donald Trump's vice presidential shortlist and who spoke at the Republican convention, has sparked controversy by retweeting an anti-Semitic message. On Sunday, he shared a tweet reading, quote, CNN implicated, the USSR is to blame, not anymore, Jews, not anymore, unquote. The tweet was a reference to Hillary Clinton's campaign manager claiming on CNN that Russia was behind the DNC email hack. Flynn deleted the tweet and apologized a few hours later. 2 people were killed and at least 16 wounded in a shooting early this morning at a nightclub in Fort Myers, Florida. Police said they were investigating the shooting and did not offer a potential motive or suspects for the attack. The attack at the Blue nightclub comes a little more than a month after a gunman attacked an LGBT nightclub in Orlando, killing 49 people in one of the deadliest mass shootings in U.S. history. Afghanistan observed a national day of mourning Sunday, a day after a suicide bomber killed at least 80 people demonstrating peacefully in Kabul. The Islamic State claimed the attack. The demonstrators were asking the Afghan government to build a high-power electrical transmission line in the impoverished northern province of Bamiyan. This is Jawad Rezai, the relative of one of the bombing victims.
Yesterday's incident was a tragic incident against the movement of justice. This is the first attack against a justice movement. We have lost many of our family and friends here. We have come here to bury our martyred and name the hill the Martyred Hill.
Memorials were held this weekend in Germany for victims of a mass shooting on Friday near a shopping center in Munich. German police said 18-year-old Ali Sanboy killed 9 people with a handgun in an apparently random attack before killing himself. An investigator said Sanboy appeared to have been obsessed with mass shootings and began planning his attack after visiting the site of a school shooting that left 15 people dead in the German town of Winnedam. The shooting took place on the 5th anniversary of a mass shooting in Norway that left 77 people dead. Police said Sanboy had pictures of that shooter, Anders Breivik, on his computer. Police also said Sanboy had been hospitalized for 2 months last year for psychiatric care. Syrian government air raids over the weekend struck 5 medical facilities in and around the city of Aleppo. 5 people were killed in the strikes. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said all 5 clinics remain closed after the bombings. Physicians for Human Rights says 750 medical personnel have been killed in Syria since 2011, 698 in attacks carried out by Syrian government forces and their allies. Here in the United States, the family of a North Miami autistic man who police say was the target of a shooting last week says he's been traumatized by the incident. Arnaldo Rios-Soto was being treated by a behavioral therapist, Charles Kinsey, after wandering away from a group home. When police arrived, Kinsey was lying on the ground with his hands in the air. He told police no one was armed and that Rios-Soto was playing with a toy truck. An officer opened fire, shooting the behavioral therapist, Kinsey, in the leg. The police later said the officer meant to shoot the autistic man, Rios-Soto, who was cradling his toy truck. Since the shooting, Rios-Soto's family said he's not sleeping or eating. His sister Miriam Soto spoke to a local news organization.
Own up to your mistakes. Let people know that you're trying to change, because this is not the first time that it has happened. When I got home, I noticed my mom was crying, nervous. She had no answers, and she explains to me what she saw. Later on, that they realized that it was a toy. He didn't have a gun. Come on now. It's just too many lies.
And today would have been the 75th birthday of Emmett Till. 14-year-old African-American boy from Chicago who was murdered August 28, 1955, when visiting his aunt and uncle and cousins in Money, Mississippi. Emmett Till was abducted, beaten, and shot after he allegedly wolf-whistled at a white female store clerk named Carolyn Bryant. His corpse was found 3 days later in the Tallahatchie River with a bullet hole in his head, barbed wire wrapped around his neck, and a cotton gin fan weighing down his body. Emmett's mother, Mamie Till Mobley, held an open casket funeral for her son in Chicago, and the published images of his brutalized body galvanized the civil rights movement. This is Mamie Till speaking after the death of her son.
I believe that the whole United States is mourning with me. And if the death of my son can mean something to the other unfortunate people all over the world, then for him to have died a hero would mean more to me than for him just to have died.
That was Mamie Till. Her son, Emmett Till, if he had survived, would have been 75 years old today. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. We are breaking with convention, war, peace, and the presidency. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. The Democratic